All right, Cabinet of Curiosities. Cock, ha ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
I've made that joke enough times. We've got The Viewing. This was directed by Panos Cosmatos, if that's how you say his name. Director of Mandy and Beyond the Black Rainbow. Two very, very trippy films. And this is no different. Right?
It's weird.
This is exactly what I expected it to be when I saw the director, and knowing his previous work. It would be weirder if it was normal, right?
Like, what? Why
like,
is
what
this
the
like
hell
an
is
average?
happening?
Yeah.
Why is this so normal?
It's
right?
the farthest thing from normal.
Yeah. Now, do I have an idea of what's going on in this? Not really.
No.
And that's gonna happen with someone who hasn't taken enough drugs to be able to try to analyze shit like this, or I'm just not smart enough. Whatever it is, we have our guesses.
Yes.
We have our interpretations, and that's what you're supposed to do with these kinds of movies or episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. Even though it is very bizarre, I did kind of love it. It was insane, for sure.
Yeah.
And eccentric,
Mm-hmm.
odd, every kind of word you could use to describe something that's different.
Yeah, I'm
But I was completely engaged the entire time, and it is slow. It's almost completely a few people sitting in a room talking while doing drugs with crazy light changes and tons of lens flares.
Mm-hmm.
And as I had said, the music is uber trippy.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversations are very confusing.
Yeah.
And I don't know though. I was super into it somehow.
I'm with you. I definitely was like really into the episode, but I feel like I have no idea what they were talking about, and that like kind of bugs me because I don't know if it's like I wasn't paying enough attention or what. I definitely would love to revisit this episode. I would watch it again for sure. Maybe a little bit more critically or with, more of an analytic eye.
Mm-hmm.
But like my impression after watching it was that I was really into it. I really love the visuals. I love the lens flares. I love the lighting and just the 70s aesthetic that's going on because it looks like it was filmed in the 70s. And that all of that, like the way it looked was amazing. But what the hell was happening? I don't even know if my ideas are like fully formed enough to. I feel like there's so many holes in what I know, but it still was such a cool episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is set in 1979, and there are 4 strangers invited to a viewing, I guess. But they meet up, and this cast includes Eric Andre, Peter Weller, the chick who played the mummy, as well as the villain in Kingsman: The Secret Service, fucking rad movie. Jodie from Knocked Up and This Is 40, or even that movie Paper Hearts, which it was interesting seeing her here in something different than that because she always is in these like lighthearted comedies where she kind of plays like this awkward pothead girl. And in this, she's like some brilliant scientist. And we also have the guy from Chucky, who plays Lexi's dad, and he was also just recently in Lock and Key.
Yes.
In season 3, and then we also got good old Diebeard himself.
Yep.
From Peacemaker. So,
yeah, that was really cool.
We recognized pretty much everybody. I think the only guy I didn't recognize for sure, and I probably know who he is because I've seen a lot of shit, is the dude who's like on the outside,
like the security guard.
Yeah, whatever the hell he is, who he seemed to have owned. I don't know. So now when they get there to this, and every set would be shown from above and look like an eyeball. So they're invited in, and they all have different talents. One is like a psychic, one is a writer, one is a musician, and the other is some like super brilliant scientist. And essentially what I can gather is that Peter Weller's character is uber ridiculous, Rockefeller, Jeff Bezos wealthy, just more money than any person could ever know what to do with. And he, like the Collector movies, but in a much different way, he collects people because he, he wants to feel something, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? Like he wants to feel special, like we all do. And so we do get some reference to that. The music that's playing in there was some hot artist at one point, but that essentially he bought him to make music for him exclusively that only he's allowed to hear and have.
Which is crazy.
Which is just amazing. I mean, amazing. I shouldn't say amazing. Awful.
Amazingly
ridiculous.
Awful. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Could you imagine like the biggest artists in the world right now, like Harry Styles or whoever the hell is like topping the charts? If like Bezos like went to him and was just like, "You're not going to make music for the public anymore. You're only going to make music for me.
Oh my gosh.
And only I'm allowed to listen to it. I want, could you imagine like some billionaire in the past like buying the Beatles when after they had released like Please Please Me or something, and he was just like, I want your music exclusively. I'm never going to show it to anybody." And like all their albums from Abbey Road to the White Album to all those things to be like his.
I mean,
and he's the only one that's ever heard them.
Didn't like Kings kind of do that, like when they kept like
I'm sure
bards or whatever?
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's a wild concept. It's like, who are you? Why do you think that you're like God?
That's what they think.
Yeah.
Right? It is. It's controlling. It's you're owning talent. Right? You're not only owning the people, but you're owning their talent and something that the world would be better with. Mm-hmm. And you're robbing people of that thing, whether it's innovations, inventions, technology, right? Because this girl that's in here, she is a scientist, and she's probably going to, from what we can tell, she is going to create amazing technology that would better mankind. But he wants that exclusively for him. Right? He wants this guy's poetry exclusively for him, like, or his writing to be exclusively for him, or to write exclusively for him. The list goes on. Like Stephen King is bought after he writes The Shining.
Oh my God.
And then like this person has all of his novels that he's written since.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who's ever read them.
I also feel though like that I don't know if that's 100% like what he was doing, that he was like trying to, I know that he was talking about how he owned this musician. I know, but I think that like it's possible that him calling these people here with what the viewing ends up being, like whatever alien tech thing it is, that he's trying to like bring samples of the best of humanity for that.
Sure, but
kind of like a pet, like
he
he's
very
feeding
specifically says that, you know, when they're listening to the song, he's like, I haven't heard this one. He's like, no, you wouldn't have.
Yeah, I
like,
know he says that.
I own this.
Yeah.
Like, this is mine. You don't get to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, it's an honor for you that I'm even letting you hear this.
Yes, I do know he says that, yeah.
Right. And then even his, like, 8-track turntable chain, like a jukebox that he has control of at his side is like really advanced technology for the time, that I'm sure he hired some kind of you know, mechanical engineer or whatever the hell to come in, and he bought the most you know, one of the more visionary ones, and now he has technology that no one else has at his fingertips because he wants it all for him. So I think that is definitely what's happening with the other people.
Yes.
But you're right. Why is he bringing these people in? Why do they need to be enticed into smoking marijuana, even though he's like, I don't touch that hippie shit? But then he does do cocaine with them. So he's opposed to some drugs, but not the others. But he is telling them what to do. But I think that this is just him seeing that he can control them with his presence. Like, I want to, like, because the scientist chick is like completely opposed to doing either. And he like breaks through it. The writer is down to do any drugs, so he kind of has him from the get.
I got this sense of he was like tempting them, like they needed to agree to like continue, like to like kind of bend their morality.
Sure.
In some sense, like he was showing them these temptations and they were like capitulating to it, which made them more open to other things. So that was like one feeling that I got from it. But the other was sort of that this was like a Last Supper type of deal, where he was giving them all of these earthly pleasures.
Right, gives them all their favorite things. He's like, oh, this is a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to find. And then somebody else is like, this is my favorite thing ever. How could they possibly know about that?
Which, that pack of cigarettes, I don't know. But at the very end of this episode, there's a billboard that has the cigarettes that I think are the same ones.
Sure.
Which makes me think that everybody lives underground.
Yeah, I don't know. We can get to the whole dystopian
yeah.
future that they crawl out to, or well, the monster crawls out to, but that they're driving back to.
Yeah, just wanted to point that out. But I don't know that, you know, his intentions with them, I think, is, you know, one of the things that I find really confusing. And then their conversations throughout while they're sitting there felt very almost like, wow, Wes Anderson-ish. Like, they were fake sounding. Like, they didn't sound like real people. All of them sounded very pretentious and just, like, full of shit. Like, they were trying to convince each other that they were more important than they were.
Yeah.
Or that they were smarter than they were and knew more than they did.
Yeah. As far as, like, the viewing goes, once he's kind of... So my interpretation of it was this. That he did not bring them there for the rock. Like, I think he was trying to, as usual, lure big talent into his unlimited resource pool. And that viewing this, like, he owns all these crazy things, right? And once he feels like he has ownership over these, like, the next step of the process is him showing them something that he's insanely proud of also possessing, like he now does with them. And he shows them this, you know, crazy thing that he has. Now, they do add some kind of input towards this rock. The scientist does, also the writer does, and I think that the psychic does a little bit as well, and I think that's why he brings him in. Why you would bring... So what's confusing is that the people he brings in aren't inherently, good at what you would expect them to be advanced in or knowledged in order to be brought in to consult on something like this. A musician, what the hell is he going to know about this? Mm-hmm. Right? Like some psychic, a writer, like, yeah, they might be brilliant minds on their own, but it's really the scientist that would make the most sense. But I guess he's trying to get different opinions from some of the more brilliant minds, whether it's in music or writing or whatever. He wants to talk with profound people so that maybe they can figure out what the hell he has. But as I had said, I really just feel like he brings them in there to kind of show off. Mm-hmm. Now, what's this like blue stuff that she adds to the cocaine? Maybe that opens up their minds to this thing or makes them more susceptible to being bought, or who the hell knows. But they're brought into this room and they're shown this rock, and Eric Andre smokes a cigarette, but then he smokes a joint, and the smoke goes into the rock, which may or may not have been the catalyst for it, coming undone and turning into this devil demon creature thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I don't know. I sort of also feel like when they're there, that he wants to expose different personality types to the rock to see like how it will affect them. That was also a feeling I was getting from it. Like, will it enhance certain abilities?
So he thinks it has a power coming off of it.
Yeah. I thought that.
Okay.
I also thought somehow he was going to use the rock to like absorb their talents.
Yes. I very much thought that.
Was something that I was thinking, especially with the like blue powder that she adds to the cocaine. Like that seemed to have an importance, of course. But I don't know.
They also
I don't know.
They also allude and outright kind of just talk about how he owes everything to this woman who's this doctor, scientist, who he's like, I wouldn't be here without her. I'm nothing without her. Mm-hmm. She's worth more than I am, not financially, but like he bows to her basically. Mm-hmm. And what all that is, like, what did he do for her, or what did she do for him, and what the significance of their relationship is at this point. Is he banging her? Is he, like, I have no idea what her role is in all of this. Outside of that, I think that she's probably the person who brought him the rock, and that the rock maybe has brought him good fortune, but I thought it made it seem like he was wealthy when he'd met her, so maybe it made him like god rich. I don't know, unsure. But like how? Because I did not get the impression that what happened in this, obviously he dies, right? He's taken over by this blob devil tentacle creature thing, but I didn't get the impression that what happened was his intention, right? Like, I didn't get the impression that he like brought them in there for this thing to feed on them. Like where it's like, I desire talent and I want them to be fed to me, like bring me the most brilliant minds, so that I may feast on them and become more knowledgeable, like the creature in Horror Express or something. I didn't get that vibe from the reaction of Peter Weller's character when it starts to like come out of there. But maybe that is what it is. Maybe this thing absorbs energy and passes it on to him, and at this point it's strong enough to free itself and show its true form. I don't know, because this film or episode doesn't have any exposition of any sort, any text, any, dialogue, anything that alludes to like an answer. It's just very ambiguous. The very definition, the epitome of ambiguity.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I think that I know that's what we're just saying, or at least what I'm just saying over and over again, but this is kind of what I mean about needing to like rewatch it with maybe a more critical eye, because clearly Eric Andre's character smoking, that what happens after that is not what was intended, but whether or not that's like an extreme version of what was happening, like, I don't know. I will say that everything after that point, though, was crazy cool.
Sure.
The effects of the people's skin, like, melting and them, like, just having these, like, brain aneurysms and just not being able to handle what was going on. Like, all of that was terrifying and really, really cool visually.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that. And then, of course, when the rock slime just kind of envelops his character, and just covers his face and everything. His face
terrifying.
Was so scary when he's in that.
Yeah,
that like really, really scared me when I saw it. Like legit, it's like drop of water kind of.
Yeah, it's
scary for me at least.
Yeah.
And then he crawls super slow. He walks
so
slow out of the sewers.
Like
or out of
that
the
thing's
underground.
never getting to you. Like
No.
You're like, oh my god, it's like the Austin Powers scene when he's like, ah, and the steamroller's coming at him at 1 mile per hour. That's about how he could get you.
So
I don't
slow.
understand. I've never seen a slower monster.
But it also was scary too, because it's like he's in agony. That's what I was getting from it. Like that it was
he's an incredible melting man.
So painful. But him exiting into the dystopian world.
Yeah, some kind of alternate 1970s.
Mm-hmm. Everything looked really dark and grimy and not inhabited by the type of people that we were seeing, in the episode.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that implies, but the cigarettes on the billboard make me think that maybe a lot of people have kind of relocated underground, like the surface is no longer
Why would they be
viable.
Oh, because it hasn't been able. Okay, sure. So they're hard to find now because up top they don't make shit anymore.
Exactly.
And this is a brand that existed before the fall.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay,
that's what I was.
I like that.
That's what I took from it. Yeah, really cool episode, but I don't know what it's about.
I have no idea.
So
what the hell's
tell
going on.
us.
Yeah, we're done.
What
tell
you think? What did we miss?
Everything. Nothing. I don't know.
Everything and nothing.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Bye.
Bye, guys.